Greetings, travelers, snowbirds, anglers. Coastal Kev here. We're Sunshine Skyway Bridge Fishing Pier, Tampa Bay, Florida. We come out here to enjoy the weather, maybe catch a fish. Now the fishing pier, it costs $8, and it's good for 24 hours, and it's good for the south side pier and the north side pier. And one year coming out here, I fished 12 hours on the south side and then moved to the north side for the other 12 hours. I did a whole 24 hours out here. What a nut. It's really nice at night. The bridge is all lit up. We're basically catching some bait fish. We got our little bucket with aerator. I got a few in there. We catch these little ones here, and then before you get to the pier, see if I can zoom on there. The approaches to the pier, there's a rest area. And where those trees are, there's beaches, and you can park there overnight, no cost, no cops, minimal creeps. And so I'll take these bait fish to that beach, and then on the other side of this causeway are more beaches, and you can park out there overnight. There's no charge. Sandy beaches. Watch where you park. You might get stuck in the sand. So what we got here, we got our small rig, trying to catch the little bait fish. I don't see it bobbing, so we don't have anything on. And what I'm using here, sabiki rigs. This is a long line. It's got about 8 or 9 hooks on it with feathers and real sharp, tiny hooks. Good for catching these bait fish. I think sabiki means in Japanese, fish on. Fish on, fisherman. They're made by Tsunami. I think it's $2. These work pretty good. I found these little bait fish, you could call them pinfish, you could call them shad, you could call them brim. I don't know what you call them. They're just little tiny baby fish. But I found some old in my gear. Some of this Berkeley power bait stuff. I don't know, this stuff's called Gulp. Gulp Alive. And it looks like little fishies. And they're rubber, I think. They didn't work. You know what works for these bait fish is bread. But the bread doesn't stay on your line very long. Use the crust. Get a little piece like that with the crust, and it'll hang on your hook longer, not long. When you fill up this rig, and I'll show you in a minute, when you fill up this rig with bread and toss it in the water, they're hitting right away. They're just boom, they're right on it. They love the bread. But that doesn't stay on very long. So I found this thing. This has been in my stuff for like 2 years. It's all dried out. It's called Gulp. And it's some sort of power bait, spongy rubber stuff. And even that is too big for these hooks, so I cut it in half. And this stays on the line pretty good. It's a long time it stays on the line. And they seem to like it. Not like bread, though. They'll hit that bread quick. So we're using the Berkeley Gulp. And water is not turquoise clear. and we're kind of at the beginning of the pier. Old fisherman told me, "Oh, you don't have to go way out. Go about 50 yards and start fishing. There's big fish here." And that's I-275. It's headed to Sarasota, Naples. And there's the bridge. You can see this pier goes down maybe another quarter mile where the bathrooms are there. And you got the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. It's all lit up at night. Now that's the new bridge. It was finished in 1987. The old bridge in 1980 in May, big storm came through about 7 in the morning. Wind gust up to 90 miles an hour, rain, fog, and a freighter was coming into Tampa Bay. His radar wasn't working. He couldn't steer the ship. He saw another ship coming out. He saw a ship coming out, and he thought if he turned around he was going to hit the other ship, but it turns out that other ship that was headed west out of the bay was anchored up. So he tried to make it anyway, and he drifted into the southbound bridge. There were two bridges. The southbound bridge hit the pylon and knocked it down, knocked part of the bridge. Several cars, a pickup truck, and a bus went off the bridge, 150 feet into the water. 35 people died. The guy in the pickup truck, he survived. He swam away, and a boat picked him up. I don't know if it was a Ford or Chevy, but them pickup trucks are tough. So that was in 1980. It took them 7 years to build this one. And in doing so, what we're sitting on here is the old foundation of the old bridge. And they built this fishing pier on it. And there's one here on this side, the north side, and on the south side is another one with beaches and a park area where you can kind of off-road park next to the water. There's no charge. There's no ranger checking everybody. It's pretty free-for-all. Well, the thing about this bridge is 1987, when it was completed, they didn't expect these new cruise ships to be 300 feet tall. So that actual bridge right now today is about 10 to 20 feet too short for these mega cruise ships. So they can't come into Tampa Bay. They can't get to St. Petersburg, Marina, Harbor. Can't get into Tampa. The shorter cruise ships can get in, but the big giant ones, they got to go Miami, New Orleans, Jacksonville. I think there's some up in the Carolinas, some ports for them, but they can't get in here because they're only about 10, 20 feet. You need 10 or 20 feet more height to get in here. So they got the smaller cruise ships. Across the water there is Fort DeSoto. Been there. It was built for the Spanish-American War, 1900 era. It didn't see much service. They but they've got some guns over there, and you can tour the museum. There's beaches over there. A lot of these beach areas here are open to, I know down this way, I've seen them where those trees are, people bring their horses. And that water off of those trees is very shallow. You can walk 100 yards and it come up to your knees. They ride horses along the beach there. Miss Dottie Jackson is in the van. There's no dogs allowed on the pier. You can't see it, but on the easterly side, there's beaches on the approach. So the theory here is you catch a little fish and you put them on the big pole and catch a big fish. Now I've been out here several times and getting those bait fish. I think I got 3 in there. We're not hitting it too hard today. We're just kind of messing around. First thing you do when you get to a pier like that is sit and watch and look at those other fishermen. What are they doing? What are they catching? They getting anything? And a lot of times they're not. Stowed away in my van, I have just a minimal fishing gear. I have this bag here. It's just a little bag. There's some bobbers, hooks, and fishing line. Odds and ends in there. That's not much of a bag. I mean, I don't carry huge amounts of tackle. That little bag, and then I got just a couple of these boxes. I got some freshwater stuff, grubs, flies, lures, Zara Spook. I just got that one and this one. That's all I carry. I don't carry a big giant tackle box. There's some extra hooks, some fishing line, some Impalas, sliding sinkers, swivels, some sort of jig. Seems to do the trick. I ain't catching nothing anyway. So that's what I carry in a van at all times. At all times. You just never know. Well, it's a beautiful day here on the pier. It's about 83, 84. Cool breeze. Now I've fished down here before and people are all excited about seeing the dolphin. And there's dolphins that cruise down here. But unfortunately, the dolphin scares away the fish. Because the dolphin is eating the fish, and you see a dolphin and you know that bait fish and other fish are leaving the area. And these pelicans, they can be pretty tricky too. They'll swim down and take your fish off your line. They're pretty bold. They're hanging out under the bridge there, well fed around here. And we got some sort of egrets hanging out, and some city pigeons. City pigeons come out. Well, we're gonna get back to. Let me pull out this sabiki rig. I'll show you what the sabiki rig looks like. It's a long thing. It's got a weight on the bottom and all these little hooks. We'll put it back down. This power bait stuff is staying on the hook a long time. We'll throw it back out there. Really just throw it over the side, let out the line. The tide is going into the bay. We're about 20 feet from the surface of the water, and then the water is probably 20 to 30 feet deep. So I let it hit the bottom, and then the tide is actually kind of taking it in. I don't have a real heavy weight on it. Come on, fish. Well, that's exciting, isn't it? But we didn't catch a big one today. We sure enjoy this place, though. It's pretty nice. I got some warning signs for you. I let you read these. And so don't be out here hassling the birds, okay? Don't be strangling the pelicans and the egrets. They got some garbage dumpsters over there. It's pretty clean. But a lot of fishermen leave their rigs and stuff. That's part of why dogs aren't allowed, or I don't bring her out, because she'll step on a hook. Of course, people don't clean up when they poop, so no dogs allowed. There is a pier in South Tampa where dogs are allowed. I've not seen any piers up in the Panhandle, on the east side, the Atlantic Ocean, that allows dogs on a pier. Mainly because people don't clean up, and it's a mess. So, but as a dog owner, I'm not letting my dog wander around here, because they'll step on a hook, they'll smell some fishy bait thing and try to eat it and get a fish hook in their mouth. So it's kind of dangerous for dogs. So she stays in the van. We're going to leave here soon. When we get over to the shoreline, though, I'll let her out on the rope and she'll lay in the sun. Well, there's the Skyway Bridge. One last look at her. It's really pretty at night. They've got it all lit up. There's a guy on YouTube. He puts a GoPro down in the water off of these piers. Pensacola, Panama City Beach. It's pretty interesting what's down there. There's definitely sharks. And you can see the pattern of the bait fish and the bigger fish. But of course, you really want to get that big giant fish. You're going to be out there